Okay, we are live, and you can probably hear someone not too happy in the background. With our very first one of the year, correct? Very first hangout of the year. We've been kind of slacking this year. Been a little bit busy with life and wrestling, so got lots of things to discuss tonight, and got a lot of fun things coming up. We'll probably be a little bit more frequent throughout the state series since things slow down with duels and stuff. So. First things first, we do have Nick Wijan freshly tatted up.
Add it up,
No,
baby.
don't show it. Don't show it.
State law would prohibit that.
One time for the ladies.
For the ladies.
No, the word here's the story is we have our parents, our wrestling parents, like I really want to see it, and I was like, well, it's on my thigh, and I can't pull the pant legs up that high because I'm just so muscular. And they're like, no, we don't care, so we want to see it. So you have me with like three dads around me while I'm like shimmering my pants down just enough to show it in public place. It's been a weird couple of weeks.
Maybe you shouldn't wear skinny jeans. You're not skinny anymore.
They're not skinny jeans. I'm just fat.
Stop
so,
it.
Mike's here talking rankings. He's been trying to figure out who's number one at 145. We will discuss that. And I have my who I think should be it. But first things first is something we did miss on the last show. Coach Richard J passed away right before Christmas, and definitely just want to give a shout out to him. He very wrestling historian that put together a ton of just wrestling data for most wins, most pins, career pins, family wins, and things like that. Pretty cool stuff. The good thing is I had got it about 2 years ago, so we're going to work on this spring updating and making call outs to people for updating, sending us the updated information so that we can have a pretty good indication of what, have a good history on our website. We're still working on other history like state placers and such, so that's something on the horizon. Maybe not this summer, spring and summer, but in the future. So anything, Mike, you're over in that area, and I know you interacted with Coach Jay a little bit. Any comments? I know it was one thing you mentioned afterward that we kind of forgot about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't do the show so often where it's like, you can get every update, but he was a big part. You would see him in all the wrestling tournaments, and you would see him at semi-state, and obviously he did the Pick'ems tournament at the state finals. They did a real nice thing at the Lake County tournament. My former coach, Jim Watkins, got up and did a really nice speech. His daughter was there, and Ken Tiroli, who was a two-time champ at Gavitt, was there, and they named the OW for him. So I know a lot of people in the community were really upset, and just a really good guy, and every interaction I ever had with him was a great guy. So definitely a loss for the wrestling community.
Yes, definitely. I know we have some people that are interested in keeping all that stuff alive, and definitely he has, from what I've heard, is a lot of wrestling memorabilia and things in boxes in his basement. So I know we're going to kind of make sure that stuff's preserved and not, thrown in the dumpster somewhere. And I just know that he always asked for filled out brackets from sectional, regional, and semi-state to be sent to him. So I can only imagine how many years, that could easily be 40 years worth of that stuff in his basement, which would be, it'd be cool to, archive and, scan, things like that. So I know Eric Miguel, who's helped out with the website in the past, former rankings guy, he's pretty close to Coach Jay, and he's going to help out with that stuff. And as far as I know, is we're going to try to keep the Pick the Champions contest alive. Great thing. It's always fun to do. We'll probably add a section on our. We already have our state pick'ems, and we'll probably just, add another, Pick the Champions type thing. Electronically, a little bit easier to track and everything, and I still do that, have the paper ones at the state, so things like that. Definitely someone that's impacted the sport, and kind of not the way that you usually impact the sport. Usually you're thinking of a wrestler or a guy that's a coach for 40 years. He was someone that did a lot of good things beyond just that. So definitely need to keep that kind of stuff preserved and alive. So
Yeah, and it is kind of a pioneer of what we do, where he was doing a lot of the books and handing them out and things like that. And not that he directly impacted us, but like he was kind of on that area, and then obviously we're a different branch of that. But he definitely took that in the direction in that impact. On top of being a good coach and had an impact on a lot of kids in an area that's not that Hammond's a bad area, but I think it had some trying times over there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to a good positive note. Rankings are probably close to being finished, I assume.
Yeah. I lined them up. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So probably tomorrow morning-ish, or?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to wait till some of the other brackets came in to kind of just to make sure I didn't miss anything. It's always like one of those things you post it and it was like, oh man, you missed this, but no one sent me the information. So, I always joke to Joe, like Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, I get a ton of PMs or emails, and Joe doesn't see the emails, but like on the site, I get a ton of messages, and so just kind of go through all that and then add it in, add results, and then just update the spreadsheet. We just kind of want to make sure we don't miss anybody. We try to keep them as accurate as we can. I know 3 or 4 times a year we get the, well, rankings don't mean anything, which is fine. You're right. They don't win matches. They don't lose matches. But we try to give people the recognition that they deserve from competing at a high level. And if they didn't mean anything, we get so many views on these things that if no one cared, then they wouldn't be getting these kind of views.
Oh, not at all. I could bring it up, and you would be amazed by how many views just that one page on our website gets. It's quite a lot, to say the least. So 145, number one. We'll kind of discuss this before we kind of review it. We got a drum roll, Nick, we'll let you start off. Who do you think should be number one at 145?
I really hate that I'm going to say this. Major Ursula on the board made a very good point. Rankings are supposed to be an objective view of what we think is going to happen, not an opinion-based. And I think, a lot of people could argue that Jolie had a bad match against Timberman. We're all given one, but I don't think you can put him number one. I don't follow the weight class enough to tell you definitively who it should be. I don't know if – I guess if you're following it that way, it should be Laughlin, Timberman, Lee. I don't know if you put Lee at number 3 because he did come off that loss and stuck a returning state runner-up at the weight class above.
Yes.
Yeah. So Joe Lee is proving he's good. And, if I had to bet my house on it, I would say he's probably the favorite in that weight class, but I don't know if you can rank him number one. In the college, like in college football, man, if the number one team loses, they ain't number one until if they get beat. Even if it's a close game or something weird happens, if there's extenuating circumstances, if that team gets beat, they ain't number one the next week. And that could change. I don't know, but that's why I'm glad I don't have to do the rankings because that does not sound fun at all. So, Mike, I hope you have fun with that. But if it were me, it's probably going to be Laughlin. I'd probably go Laughlin, Lee Timberman, if it were me. Ranking-wise, but, again, that's why I don't do the rankings.
Yeah. But, Laughlin does have a loss. It's up at 160.
Okay, that was the thing I wasn't 100% sure about. I was trying to pull up because I don't know what Laughlin's record is.
Yeah, he has one loss to
Caden Whitaker.
Okay, then yeah, I would. Okay, so yeah, then I definitely would say for sure, yeah, Laughlin's got to be number one at that point. And I think you could flip flop Joe and Timmerman. I really think you do. And And what's crazy about all this is the way it works out is that, I mean, Timmerman, Laughlin, and Lee are all separated through semi-state, so they could be the four number ones or part of the four number ones coming out. So it's interesting. It's nice that we won't get to see that until the state finals, which is going to be good. And I personally know Jared. He's a good dude, and I hope he wrestles well. I know he's got the ability. He's had some crummy draws, but I just hope he gets there and we can see these matches to go again and just put everyone out there and see who has the good day. So yeah, I'm glad I don't rank it, but that's if it had gun to my head, I would probably do Laughlin, Lee, Timberman.
Yeah, that's you make a perfect point. It's not who Mike thinks or whoever is doing the rankings their favorite, who they think is going to win. It's it's pretty subjective of what you're doing. I mean, Laughlin beat Timmerman beat Lee. So, in a seeding meeting, Laughlin gets the number one seed, even with that other loss. And so if you have the head-to-heads, that makes it 1,000 times easier. If they all have one loss and it's all to random guys, then that makes it even more fun because then you gotta try to connect the dots, kind of like well, he beat this guy by 10, the other guy beat him by 2, and okay, that's so and so's better. So I kind of agree. I don't either way you can rank them, any of those three, any way you want. It's just a matter of personal preference. The rankings aren't going to be predictive of who makes it to state because there's never, we say this over and over because we'll have 5 or 6 guys from a certain semi-state at various weights. Sometimes we'll have 1 or 2 from a semi-state, so it's not predictive. It's who we believe the top 16 guys are in the state at that weight. So that's I kind of agree, but also can see why not Joe Lee number one? He you gotta look at, when you look at that, you can kind of look at the resume. He has a bigger resume, placed higher at state. He's done well nationally. This and that. But I mean, that's the way I always read the national rankings, and they say so and so's resume is bigger, and that's good when you're ranking nationally when most of the guys never see each other, or they only have, they're very rarely connected. So, Mike, any comments?
Yeah, just to kind of run it down. So 8 through 1, and this is no order, but I'm just going to say the guys that were in the top 8. Kenny Kern could have a legitimate shot at being number 1. Like, Kenny Kern has 3 losses, all at 52, but now Tristan Rodriguez is down at 45. That guy's been on fire. Tristan Rodriguez only lost at 52. Austin Bethel lost to McCormick tight, his only loss. Does Eichert have any losses? No?
No.
Eichert, undefeated, coming out of the same semi-state as Laughlin. And I'm sure they wrestled last year.
Yes, Laughlin won.
Jordan Vaughn, returning runner-up. Jared Timmerman beat Joe Lee. Brad Laughlin, just beat Jared Timmerman. So I think all those guys, 1 through 8, I think 9 down, those guys are kind of trading losses. So 8 and up, I think all have a legitimate shot. I just kind of laid it out, and we kind of do it. It's not a popularity contest, because if it was that, it would kind of take away from what I think it is. Like, even though sometimes it's like guerrilla math, I have like a pretty good system of what I do. If it was like, hey, this is my favorite guy, obviously there's a lot of kids I really like. I went to a high school. I wrestled in a high school. None of those guys are ranked right now. It's not a popularity contest. I try to do it results driven. So, in my opinion, right now, the way it falls down, Brad Laughlin, Jared Timmerman, Joe Lee. It's hard for me to say Joe's going to jump Timmerman after they're not going to see each other again. He did beat Bam, but also Jared Timmerman turned around and beat Jordan Vaughn, who's also a runner-up, like the next week. So that's kind of how I laid it out. When I do my pick'ems contest, it's hard for me to pick against Joe Lee or Nick Lee or any of those guys because they're so good, and obviously you see them and they're just destroying people, Like, the Bam Joe Lee match might have been the best match I've seen all year, and I know we haven't had a show since that, but there was a lot of people at IHSWCA that seen it. But man, that was just a great match. And after that, it's like, wow, this guy could be the #1 guy at 52, but it's hard for me to make him the #1 guy at 45. With at that time, Jared was still undefeated, and then he just lost a close one to Laughlin. So, I mean, all this. I mean, really, you could have some of these matchups in the quarterfinals. Like Laughlin Eicher can meet up. If Laughlin loses, you could have a Jared Timmerman, Brad Laughlin quarterfinal, or Jared Timmerman, Jordan Vaughn. You could have that Jared Timmerman, Joe Lee quarterfinal. Troy Owen go out and knock off Nick Lee or Joe Lee.
I love Troy.
I'm just throwing that out there. I know. I was a little down on the Bulldogs before Team State. Now I'm extra high on the Bulldogs.
Troy may pull off his uncle Kevin Owens, former Intercontinental Champion. WWE. No, I want to. First off, I saw what you did there with the gorilla math. It's clever. The gorillas. It says that on gorillas. I get that. It's fun.
Just a different kind of play for you guys.
It was a pun. No, I remember when Bam and Joe were wrestling. I walked over and I'm just sitting there watching it, and I think it was either a Mount Vernon kid because I saw Paul Conrath there watching. They're like, "Aren't you guys wrestling right now?" And I said, "He's fine." I was like, "Arky, wrestle!" Bam wrestle. It's like, this is too important. I gotta see this. I gotta watch. It was a great match.
Oh yeah, they got after.
You know?
Good. I mean,
real quick.
No,
I guess we can go into that real quick. So, like, real quick in that match, I mean, Bam went out there and just doubled and lifted him and scored a takedown. I was like, oh man, maybe it's too big for him. But then Joe came back. I mean, he wrestled hard and found a way to win and ended up. And I'm not sure. I didn't catch the end of it. Mike, you might be able to confirm this for me. I don't know if the fall came because Bam tried something and just ended up on his back, or if it was just legitimate. He was on top and just better wrestler and pinned him. But
we can't just in the results section. You can't just have like a breakdown of the match because it says fall, like whatever it was, 540 or 530 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it was 5-6. Bam cuts him to make it 6-6. Joe shoots a high C, and instead of like going, he went for like that gator bacon, like.
Okay.
And then he went, and Joe starts bridging and bridges back over. So it was almost like.
Here's what I'll say is like, no one likes to lose. That's a good loss for Bam.
Oh, obviously we didn't drop Bam out of #1.
That's a good loss. I mean, you have two kids wrestling like that, and then I know we're gonna have people. Well, see, that's why you should have Joe at #1. I get what you're saying. I agree with you, but it's not fun to be the rankings guy. I'll just say that.
Just another plug. The people that feel that way, and obviously I don't think those guys are really seeing any of those type matches before. We do a pick'ems contest. You can pick anyone you want.
Yep.
I think
you can be the rankings guy.
Yeah, for a day.
Yes.
But the match was ridiculous, and it was like which is ridiculous at 45. Two medalists were going at it, and I was just like, hurry up, guys, we need to see this 52. You had Blake Jordan and Casper McIntosh, two guys that had medals last year, and I'm just like, all right, let's hustle through. I'm ready to see this. And it was definitely lived up to it, Yeah. Those guys were great.
I feel like we've changed the subject now to Team State. Do we just want to move over to Team State?
Yeah. We're transferring pretty smoothly here.
All right.
Let's go with Team State. I mean, we're like 6 weeks late, I think. 3, but close enough.
Hey guys! I'm a Team State champion. Guys, I won Team State.
It's class though; it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true.
It's class.
It's true.
It's whatever. Okay, we're done. Mike.
Well, I told Thomas Pompey when they were in the finals, I was like, why are you so excited? Nobody cares. It's NAIA. It's stupid. It's not the real national finals. No. First off, I want being there, I want to thank the Coaches Association. I feel like they got a bad rap for the seating. I talked to JD Minch at a tournament. He said, any suggestions, send them to him. He wants to know. He wants to hear. And I told him from a coaching and competitor's perspective, it was very well ran, except for when he told me that 106 was going to be the starting weight. But that's another issue. That was just he thought one thing and they went with another route. But God, they killed our coin flip against Perry. But no, they did a great job. And then the issues they're getting told about is the seating. And trust me, I get it, dude. My 58-year-old mother was there. She should be in a throne above everything to watch it because she's the greatest. And it was cramped. It was hard to find seats and everything, and they had to move a lot. But you got to take a step back and look. This is the first year they ran that tournament, and if you base it off the attendance of the last few years, they weren't expecting the rush they got. Which I think someone mentioned this in the message board post is that's what a sign that we're growing this thing, that it's becoming more legitimized, is that we have people now driving to come see this thing. And they weren't disappointed, I don't think. I mean, not even just the 3A. Look at 2A. And I love the Jimtown Jimmies, but if you told me they were going to be wrestling for a state championship, I'd have said, you're probably wrong. I love Anthony Lewis and all those guys, Kenny Kern. Coach Kern, I love him. That's an area I used to be at. When I go home, I see those guys and we chat. But did I realistically think they're going to be in the state finals? No, they beat Yorktown. I mean, they went out there and wrestled well, and that's the point of this tournament. There are kids on those 2A and 1A rosters who their season's going to end at regionals or semi-state, and they're going to be done, and no one's going to ever remember their name or who they were. But for some of those Prairie Heights kids, for some of those Belmont kids, they were on a state championship team. They're going to take that to their grave. They're going to tell their kids, hey, we're state champions. That's awesome. And it hurts me a little bit to see things like Belmont having to fundraise to get rings. It just because it's not the IHSA title. That ain't cool to me. I feel like those athletic departments should step up and be supportive. And I'm lucky to be where I'm at because our athletic department is supportive, and I wish that could be for everyone, but I feel like those kids now have a story to tell their grandkids. Those kids had a purpose for this season. We're gonna go win a team state title. They can't. There's no way they're gonna compete at the individual tournament. Even with the way it is now, there's no way they could compete. Even if their coaches stopped and just coached 3 or 4 good kids, the odds of them competing are just not there. And now we got. I don't know the numbers, but I'm telling you, I bet they don't have a small room at Prairie Heights. I bet they have a pretty packed room because they have had success, and that's what it's all about: is getting more kids involved, more kids wrestling. So hold on, I gotta fix this because it's annoying me. Okay, so that's what I think. I think it was a great event. I just rambled really bad though, but I think it was a great event. I think the things that were issues, I think, will be easily fixed next year. I think there's a lot of suggestions going around that could be fixed. I think it was a great venue for the event. I know a lot of people would prefer it be more centralized. I mean, I had to drive back up to Fort Wayne the next week and have an event there. I think it's a great event for wrestling, or a great place for wrestling. But, the little things that weren't good were because, we're just growing. It's growing pains, I guess, is how you would explain it. So as a competitor, someone who was there, I know Joe might have an opinion too. He wrestled there too, or coached there. But it was a good time, and to be part of a team that had success. That we went there and we did what we wanted to do and win. It was a fun time, and it's definitely something that's going to be cherished by me for the rest of my life because I know. I gave a speech that night before where I told my guys, I go, I'm going to live through you. Selfishly, I know it's not the right way to do it, but I'm going to live through you. I'm going to live through you and through your accomplishments because when I was your age, I didn't get it done. We didn't get it done. We got beat by Mater Dei my senior year. Thanks, Coach Goebel. So we went out there and did it, and I mean, my mom cried, ran up to me, hugged me. It was as if I went out there and competed, and I lived through those guys and the work they put in. So. I don't know if Joe has anything else to add on to it. I know Mike might have a spectator take on it, but that was my view on how that tournament went, and it was just a good time.
Yeah, I think it's one thing I've been preaching for quite a while is if you want it to be a state championship, treat it like a state championship. Have a venue that people can go and watch, and it was great. I mean, they doubled their attendance from the first 3 years just in 1 year. It was, I mean, they had like 2,300 people. paid attendance. That's huge. And that's from all over the state. I think probably a lot of schools. I mean, it probably helps that, in all honesty, there are probably more schools from Northeast Indiana than really the other areas, because of all the small school teams were from most of them were from probably Northeast Indiana. So you have Yorktown, you have Belmont, you have Jimtown, Prairie Heights, Adams Central, all Churubusco. Those are, I mean, there's a bunch of teams, especially the small schools, that are going to bring fans because this is their state championship. They're going to do that. There's some tweaks that need to be made so people can see a little bit better, and I know the powers that be know that. So there will be some tweaks. I mean, it's a mat layout thing. I mean, they didn't expect to have 2,000 fans there, or they probably would have had it changed. So little things there, here and there. It sounded like some people complained like it was the worst thing in the world. I mean, come on, you're getting there to watch wrestling. I can look across. I'm seeing Jolie versus Bam Lawrence. I'm looking across the other mat. I'm seeing other ranked kids battling it out. And one of the cool things I know, just I was following 3A a little bit more than the others. I saw a lot of bumping around, which was cool because you don't get that in regular duels. If Carol's wrestling such and such team, whatever, we don't bump around that. We're not going to bump around that much because usually we're either going to win by a lot or lose by a lot. But it's one of those things you don't see that. And I know Warren did it. I know Brownsburg did it. Perry, I think, might have done it a couple times.
Perry did it a little bit. Here, I'll just to kind of piggyback on that real quick, is like, yeah, when I said like we were upset about that coin toss against Perry because we thought we were starting at 6, we were, we built a strategy based on what we were going to do because we thought, well, they may bump away from Walton or whatever, and we need to get a coin toss to where they can't do that. And just a miscommunication thing there, and it I mean, Derek about got thrown out. I had to be like, relax, it's fine. But I mean, you don't see a lot of duels where people are that into it and they're thinking that deep. And I know Coach Shutley and Riley were sitting there and they're doing the same thing. They're thinking, all right, we can jump up here, maybe get an extra 3 points out of it if we do it this way. And we're over here doing it, and then I know what we want to do so they can kind of counter it, and it's intense, man. It was, I mean, I took my anxiety medicine before the Perry match because I knew I was going to need it, and it didn't kick in, so I still had to walk away from the match a few times to breathe. So it's a good time.
I think you need horse tranquilizers. That might help you a little bit more.
Yeah, I got my roommate said he could get me some. My other roommate.
Your other roommate. Nice.
My other roommate.
Nicky Dubs.
Nicky Dubs. Yeah, he's at a little resort right now. He'll be back later.
Nice. Mike, any comments that you want to piggyback on what we've been talking about?
I didn't even know the bathroom was an issue. I just thought I was going to the same bathroom. I didn't know there was only one bathroom. So just as a side, I just assumed that was the bathroom that I chose to go to, and it was always crowded. I was like, man, if there's another bathroom. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. The only thing, when I was leaving, I didn't even think about it until I was in the truck getting ready to leave. I was like, man, I wish they had a program to say, like, hey, this is what's going to be on. This is who's wrestling. Other than that, man, I was really – I didn't – and I'm going to say it on here. I didn't pick Brownsburg to win. I told Dane and Dane told Nick, so I had to deal with that awkwardness.
Don't worry, I solved it. I went right into your face. Yeah. I had some not nice words for you.
I thought that he was going to tell me something really exciting, and then he walked up and was like, so I seen your picks for the Perry match. I said, oh, did you? So, but, man, I was so excited for Nick and those guys. Just as a team, man, they were so into it. Everyone, the two claps, everyone's cheering for everybody. Just really excited, man. And I think that's what it's all about. That we talked about it before with the Danny Abu Shihab story, but Ricky Clark got to be the hero, and obviously now Ricky's season's done. But man, like when he beat the Warren Central kid, Jason Brogan, like he gets to be the hero. Like that's probably the highlight of his maybe career, but definitely his season. Like that's what it's about, If Slick Rick out there doing work. So, as a fan, we used to go to Maryville, obviously with East Chicago now, which is, who knows. But I knew that you had to get there early. Getting there early, I was awarded a seat where I could see, which I know that like on a platform like that, I want to sit higher, not lower. Like lower is cool because you get to see like what's in front of you, but higher you get an overall view. So I knew that sitting and plus I don't like people behind me, so I got to sit with my back up to the top bleacher. And then later on, I stood up on the walkway and I got to see everything.
Yeah, that was a good view from up there. But yes, I do agree with the program. The Team State program was released about 4:30 in the morning, I think, the night before, and it was about half a gig.
Yeah, it was not a compressed file, but I mean, we could sit here, and I know Coach McCormick put that up. We could sit here and be like, "Oh, Coach McCormick should have known that," and compress his PDF file. But he probably doesn't understand a bunch of those words I just said, which is completely understandable. Not everyone's a big nerd like me or Joe, as much as we wish they were.
How many gigs do you have on your computer, Mike?
Does it say it on here?
Maybe. I can tell you, I got about 2 terabytes of regular drive, a couple solid state drives on a regular hard drive. So.
Do you have a solid state drive, Mike?
I love when people ask me, "Oh, you run the site?" I said, "Man, I barely know how to log in."
Yeah. but no, and I should probably go find and download that because I haven't got to see it. Coach, again, I'm sure Coach McCormick did his best on that, and I'm sure I haven't looked at it. So, Coach, I'm sorry, but I'm sure it looks fine. And that's I think that's part of those growing pains. We're still learning. We're to the point where a coach has to put all that together himself and get it out there. That's not easy. On top of having to coach a team who's usually a favorite in the top 4 there, and have to coach and get them ready to do that on top of it. I mean, it's unfair to expect him to get that all perfectly and flawlessly. So, Coach, I haven't looked at it. I'm sure it looks great. And I'm sure there's better ways to do that, but it's not on you by any means. We just hopefully the way that this worked out now, more people see how important it is. We can have people stepping up and helping with that. Because a program would be good. My nerdy mom loves to get the program and write everything into it because she's weird. So.
So do I.
Far from the tree there.
That's not weird. I do that all the time.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, we put the program together last year, and it was a lot of work, and I didn't have to deal with the Nell Smith tournament and all that stuff. So that's kind of why I passed the buck on that one. Yeah. So trying to get team ready, and like you said. It's a lot of work, and hopefully we can get that done a little bit earlier. And it also, I will say, it depends on the coaches sending in information. You don't even want to deal with that.
Yeah,
36 coaches sending you stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing. And I know I got asked about it. I think at some point to do it, and I told Derek, I go, dude, I got work, I got our youth program, and I got our high school program. I go, I don't have time. And I wish I did. If I had more time in the world, I would love to help. My thought process, I mean, the only thing I can think of is you have to split it up, but then you have 3 different viewpoints. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to get something like that pushed out. But like I said, I think we're taking the right steps in this tournament. Give it a few more years, it'll be prestigious. I think it already is. I think we've shown that people want to come and see it, and I think each year we'll figure out from our mistakes, we'll learn, we'll make it better. And we'll have that tournament that's like, hey, this is a state championship atmosphere. And I don't want to get crazy, but if we keep working well, maybe at some point we get to the point where we get funding for this kind of thing, and we're hosting it at Bankers Life. You never know. Things can happen. So all I can say is support it. You got to support it because it's all we have.
Yep. Nick, you do have a message from a certain number 1 ranked wrestler to clean your room. We started passing along to you. And if you want to wrestle him, we can schedule that.
Is he going to cut on my team?
No, he's not on your team.
Give me a hint.
Bam.
Oh, it's Bam?
You just sent a message saying you need to clean up the room.
Bam, I'm 27, I live alone, I don't have a girlfriend, and now you know why.
So anyway, if you can't hear, I have a little background commotion. Someone doesn't want to go to wrestling right now. Let's go. Since we're done talking about the past, let's talk about what's coming up this next couple of weeks. We have 1 week away from sectional seating meeting. We get to figure out who's wrestling where. You know, the big thing. We gotta. Luckily, everything's on track wrestling, but we just gotta have everyone release their brackets. Mike, what are you looking forward to the next couple of weeks?
This weekend coming up, the Gary Burkhardt always had some good matchups. You know, and then sectionals, regionals. We'll have the final ranking put out the week of sectionals, and then I'll be done, and I get to relax on Sundays.
Mike, I think we should do a contest in the Pick'ems where we have to do like whatever the final rankings are in the Pick'ems contest, and then whoever scores above that gets a T-shirt that says, "I beat the rankings guy."
Let's do it, man. You know who always does really well is what's the kid? Man, I feel like he always does really good. He was like Gymtown kid.
Caleb Spires, next twin.
Yeah, man, Spires kills it in the Pick'ems. Like, I'll be like top 5, and he's always like 1 ahead of me, or he's won a couple times. So I'd be down for that if people want to put it in. But make sure you submit them all, because I do every single one.
Yeah.
I'm only seeing probably like 10% of the wrestlers, so I'm going off like people's opinions sometimes. But yeah, I'd be down for that. We thought about me and Joe just talked about doing a fantasy draft live with all the personalities from Indiana Met and a couple different posters, and just doing them, picking them straight. If anyone wants to watch a 6-hour show.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't know. We're kind of still discussing it. I think it'd be kind of fun.
That might not be a family-friendly show.
Yeah, we could. We'll talk about that maybe more off air. I've been, I don't know how the fans would, really get an interest. Maybe we can have a voting interest, and whoever votes that my team wins, they can, we'll pick a couple winners for a church or something. I don't know. That way we can get some people trash talking like, Joe's team's way better than Mike's because
Listen. I've said it before. There needs to be good guys and bad guys in wrestling. It just depends on your opinion. If you want me to be a bad guy, dude, I'll be the best bad guy.
He was so bad at who's number 1.
Oh, I was so good. Everyone hated me. I deserve that applause.
So yeah, I mean, it's always kind of fun to talk about things like that, and it's hard. One thing with our rankings, next week will be the last rankings. We'll probably have them Wednesday, Thursday-ish, maybe. I don't know. It depends on how much information we get. Things like, is Nick Lee wrestling, which,
yeah,
from everything we've heard, it's possibly not. Like, it depends on
that one we usually release like towards the end of the week. Once everyone released that sectional bracket, so I can kind of get an idea where people are moving. I don't like to have it where it's like, well, we have Nick in there, then he's not wrestling. And then people are like, this guy doesn't even know what he's doing. So, and then that'll be it. So, like, we usually do that, and then, like, it's still pretty high. I don't know what the percentage is all the time. But for the state, like, we stopped doing it. We'd stop doing the semi-state. It's usually pretty high. I think it's, like, in the 90s for semi-state and in the 80s, maybe high 80s for state.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We expanded to 12, and it's not a prediction of who is going to make it to state, because we do have the draws. We have the death draws where you'll have a 5 versus a 10. Two guys that you would technically predict to go to state, but they both somehow drew each other because they had someone else or whatever. So it's kind of it's fun, because then you kind of have that red pen, and you cross out the guys that are out and kind of see where each weight class goes. But I mean, it's usually you're getting. I mean, I'm just knowing 10 to 12 kids per weight, are going to state, and sometimes.
And I think one of those weight classes, like 106 in Evansville, all those guys deserve to be ranked. All those guys are really good, and I mean, you're going to leave some good guys home. Like, what happens if Ty and Asa, who's been wrestling close, one of those draws Clay Eagley? Like, well, one of those guys don't deserve to go. They definitely deserve to go because they're all very good.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't like get any say-so whatsoever, any draws. So, and then, we don't also go with injuries. Like, one year, when Austin McCloskey was a senior, was #1 ranked kid. He won the sectional and then got re-injured before the regional. There's nothing we can do. Like, I'm not changing it. That's what we're going to leave it out as, and that's just going to go for or against what we're going to do.
Yep, exactly. I mean, you never know. I'm looking at, Fort Wayne and 132 could have there's two state qualifier versus state qualifier matches in the ticket round. I mean, that's one way. I mean, in Fort Wayne always has that. There's always the the returning third the rematch of the third place match a couple years ago in the ticket round. One kid's going home, one kid's going to state. That kind of stuff. And you can't tell me that those guys aren't deserving of top 5 rankings when they've undefeated and beaten everybody. So that kind of stuff it's fun. I mean, the rankings aren't. I mean, they're rankings. They're kind of who has the best resume. After 3 months of wrestling. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited to finally see this. Get the sectional brackets. I'm excited for our seeding meeting. Oh yes, they're fun. I love seeding.
I've been banned from all seeding meetings.
I'm looking for. There's some personalities that are fun at seeding meetings, and the who are your losses to guys who ask. They're trying to get their kid that's 7-15. Somehow they hope he has one magical win that puts him over the guy that's 30-4. Type guys. Oh goodness, I love those.
I think that was one of the things that was posted in between Christmas and now was seeding meeting stuff, and I get it, man. You want the best draw for your kid, that's fine, but doesn't that defeat the purpose of what you're doing? Don't you want to separate the best kids? And then the guys that say like rankings don't matter, shouldn't your seed not even matter? Like if you're one of the top kids, you're getting out either way.
Yeah.
I think
what I've learned
bash rankings, those are the same coaches that are in there begging for a seat.
What I've learned is that wrestling's full with for every fantastic wrestling coach or person who's done everything great for the sport, there's a couple hypocrites out there. So
you're underestimating the couple. No,
it's generous.
I go in there. I want to get my kids the best, draws and best setup to go to regional, obviously for or advanced. I know what side of the bracket I want my guys on. Does it always happen? No, I don't always get where I want to be, but and that's what you do as a coach is you look out for your kids. That's my #1 priority. I'm not going to try to get my kid that's 7-15 seated over someone that has a 30-5. There's no. I do my research. If you want to look, I have a spreadsheet of every kid in our sectional and regional with their records up to date from last week at least. And I sort it, and I know who's beaten who and who's beaten them and who's beaten them and all that. So I already know kind of how our seeds are going to break down. And I already have, our coaches, we kind of discuss, where do we want, there's a kid, if they're looking at between a 4 and 6 seed, where do I want to be? Do I want to be on the top or the bottom? That kind of stuff. Do I want to kind of, but that's how I do it. I've always been a nerd with that stuff. I got to know where my kid, I can't go into seeding meeting not prepared and not know that this kid beat a kid that beat us, so he's going to be above us. There's a few of those that come up, but rarely does it happen because I do my due diligence and I kind of can see where my kids are going to land. So, but anyway.
I know I do the stats for our team, so I have to get Derek weekly updates with like everybody we've wrestled, how the match went, and you may not know this, but Derek's OCD is crap. I mean, that dude is insane when it comes to this sort of stuff. So he's like you, Joe, where he's not gonna try to oversee the kid who doesn't deserve it because he believes in karma. P.S. Shout out to Karma Lee. I know she's watching now, and he's not gonna sit there and try to seed a kid who's not seeded because he knows he wants to put the best kids out there, and he wants people to listen to him when he actually has a legitimate argument for another seed. So it's a lot of that, being honest and just saying, listen, clearly our kid's the second best kid here. If you don't want him to be there, it's probably going to hurt another kid, and that's not cool. So let's talk this out real quick, and that's what it's about. We're just trying to get the best opportunity for each kid to perform and separate the best wrestlers. That's all it is.
Yeah, I know. I know there's a weight at our sectional. That's just there's a huge big roundabout of people that have beaten everybody, and then a couple of them have one of them has a really good win. That's gonna kind of just it's gonna be fun. I know that's gonna be fun. And
I know. Like 106, Asa Garcia and Ty Mills. That's gonna be a 1 or 2. Well, Ty just beat Asa, so he should be 1, right? Probably not. Asa's got 2 wins over Ty. Asa should probably be 1. We could probably sit there and argue that for 10 minutes if you really wanted to, but is it gonna help anything? No. Just separate them and let's go.
Yeah. Or what the one year where was it Kiefer and Wright? Is that who it was that were 2-3 because the guy was like a returning sectional champ in the same weight, and the guy, and that the thing is that kind of screws you up for the rest of the state series because if they're 1-3, the next week they're 1-3 is going to be on the same side, so that other guy is going to be on the that guy is going to be on the other side and make the finals. They're going to be 1-3, so they're going to be 1-3 at semi-state. Luckily by then at semi-state they could be 1-2, but at the same time, you know, you're looking at, oh, I got second, so I'm going to have a third placer. Well, wait, I have Kiefer Wright. Ouch. That's not exactly right. You know, you're kind of thinking, okay, I'm going to get third placer, so he's a little bit weaker than being a second placer, and then that kind of stuff. You know, and I know I've even discussed that with our coach because there's a couple weights where there's 3 really good kids. I was like, my kid, I'd rather him be second almost because he's going to have make the finals and then have 1 tough match instead of 3 or 2. But that's kind of the that kind of stuff is fun to discuss and kind of plan. You don't want to plan a kid to get second. You want him to get first. You know, it's always good to be rolling on that high into regional. So, any other fun topics of discussion? Any pleas for information, Mike?
No, everyone's been really good. You know, super good, man. Tons of messages. Nope. Great. Nope. I love it. I did want to say that the Hook and Half post for their conference, the Modern Day conference, I'm not sure off the top of my head, was it
SIAC?
That was really good. I love that kind of post where it's like the history of it, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. He's the one that wrote the Modern Day book, and he's a very talented writer.
Well, I hate the Modern Day book, and I hate Modern Day. I'm sorry, that's personal. Sorry, I don't mean that.
Is that your Modern Day Tourette's?
Yeah, I can't help it. Every time I talk, they've ruined so many state championship attempts for me.
I mean, even that article, just that post, not article, just the post there, you see the same names that are wrestling right now. So the people that are like, man, they recruit all these guys, like Boots was in there, and all these guys that are still wrestling at their program. It's like, man, you guys are crazy if you think they're recruiting. Like,
my favorite example is Wilderman beat Tante, right, at state?
Yep.
So I remember sitting there, we're like, who just beat Tante? Me and Derek are sitting there, and we get it up, and we go, oh, it's a Wilderman. Of course it's a Wilderman. It might as well have been a Weinzaffel.
Yep.
Why not?
Boots. Just tons of Schneider.
An Egley.
Yeah, it's all these guys that are always in the family getting recycled through this program. So, like, people are like, if we could recruit like Modern Day, like, recruit a strong family because their dads wrestled or their uncles wrestled.
They don't know what recruit means. They think it means something else.
Well, they're Catholics, so they like to make lots of kids, and then they have lots of kids, and then those kids have lots of kids. So.
And they're all really good at wrestling, and it's not fair. Schaefer, you know what you're doing. It's not fair.
Yes.
You're too good at wrestling.
Yes, I do like that the bottom of it says titles: Modern Day 39, New Albany 8, Reeds 5, Bloomington 5, Evansville Central 1, Jasper 1. It's kind of a little bit domination.
What Bloomington? Is it
Bloomington High School?
Yeah, back when it was just.
Okay, so it was back when Bloomington won everything. Okay.
Yes.
And then they had like New Albany for a couple of years, and I just think that's I know he does that all the time, and I just thought that was really cool. That's one of like the thing. I know they say we don't talk about the South enough, but man, I really enjoy that aspect of the site. Not as much the complaining, like when people throw like legitimate knowledge out there. It's like, wow, this we got a lot of very smart people that follow the sport.
Yeah. Speaking of Bloomington, we'll kind of transition. We're doing pretty good with that tonight. Unplanned. We're going to have a pretty cool Wrestling Wednesday article. Just got I talked to the person this afternoon, Randy May, who a lot of people, the old people are saying, hey, this guy was the best in Indiana history, which is pretty steep accolades. I mean, you're talking Lance Ellis, you're talking C.J. Red, you're talking you're talking
Nick Weiss-John.
Fabio Taylor March.
I hate you.
Still hurts.
Right in the heart.
Out of respect, you can't even tell us who beat us.
Yeah, one person that beat me, Nick.
I don't know.
Exactly. It's pretty cool to be in that talk, and then like a lot of people say, hey, this guy was really legit. Obviously, I wish I could get some videos. That'd be really neat. But our guy that does Wrestling Wednesday articles, he's talking to him either today or tomorrow. Gonna have a pretty cool article on him. I'm looking forward to it. I talked to him a little bit. I had to poke him, because I had questions. Why weren't you able to wrestle your freshman year? And I know, we all know that he wasn't able to wrestle at Cleveland State and stuff. And so yeah, it's kind of an interesting story. It's kind of that. Kind of reminds me of like a 30 for 30 type thing on ESPN. Those are one of my favorite shows, and you kind of dig into that, like that Bo Jackson.
Bojo.
Yes, I'm thinking too much wrestling. Bo Jackson story, which is cool. I mean, and he was like right when I was 5th, 6th grade. I love that. That type of stuff's always neat to me. I hope people enjoy it. I know everyone enjoyed the Lance Ellis one. All the old people on obviously Facebook must be pretty old, because that one got like 15,000 people viewing that post. So anyway, it'll be pretty cool. I got a couple other cool our Monday Madness just tonight. David Eli of Elkhart Memorial, good kid. He was on my Gorilla team last year. Nice, tough wrestler, and I'm looking forward to seeing him do well at the state series. Just a lot of good stuff. Make sure you guys follow those and share those articles. Are pretty cool. Getting recognition to kids that we don't always try to. We're not always going after the Brownsburgs or the big programs. We're trying to get love to the smaller programs and stuff that don't get that much publicity. Which I know Nick's probably crying that we don't have a Wrestling Wednesday on him and stuff. But
yeah, that's some words. No, I still think it's funny that I still truly, honestly, in that post, I remember I said it, think it's hilarious that Brownsburg's being mentioned in the same names as, Perry in modern day. I mean, even though we just won team state, it's still weird to hear. If you'd have told me that Brownsburg was ever going to be up there, I'd be like, haha, who? But, sorry.
Yeah. 8 years ago, I didn't even know. I thought Brownsburg singlets were brown.
I assumed.
They're purple. It's kind of an off-road.
But
the articles have been a great addition to the site. I think those are so well done.
Yes.
I enjoy reading them all the time.
Yeah, and we got some good ones planned out. We're gonna kind of highlight the. We got. Oh, I guess we forgot a little bit of news. We got 2 new programs coming to the state next year. Anacilla. I can't tell you exactly where that is. I'm gonna have to look it up.
It's down 30, going towards Fort Wayne.
Yeah, it's up north. I remember excited. My sister's boyfriend went to Ancilla to play.
Yeah, we played baseball at their college. We played them in when I was at IUN.
It is in Donaldson, Indiana, which is
a hotbed of Indiana wrestling. Yeah, got
it. Just north of Culver, just off 30, between just outside Plymouth. Yes, Plymouth. So it's a small school there, a junior college. So great addition that kids that wrestling. Sometimes we don't have kids with the best grades. Great avenue to go, and it's in state. That's the first junior college in the state to have wrestling, so that's pretty cool.
And it's a Catholic college too, isn't it? Catholics.
I wouldn't know, but good. It's a good addition. I know there's Muskegon in Michigan. There might be another junior college there, but there's a bunch in Illinois. There's nothing in Ohio, I don't believe anymore. Cuyahoga used to. that used to be a Finlay pipeline, but it's nice to have that kind of avenue for guys that maybe didn't realize they could go to college, and man, I didn't get the grades. Let's go here, get myself on track. And I mean, I know there's some guys that I know personally that have gone that route and flourished because they had that because you get a little extra help and they make it that you succeed. And then we got another NAIA program, Marion University, in Indy, just on the north side of Indy, I believe.
Yep.
Stephen Bradley's taking over that.
Coach Bradley, that's a great addition, I think. Because in Indy you have Indy and now them, I guess, as wrestling programs. So that's good. You can have those two schools just kind of down the street, get a quick duel and wrestle.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I mean, and Bradley went to Indianapolis for a few years, so it's pretty cool that we have 2 new programs in the state, and that's one of our articles. That's actually, I think, 2 weeks from we kind of moved up to Randy May one. So that post intrigued me.
3 for 6, posting up good topics.
Yep. So if you guys have anyone has any suggestions, I like the old timers. I like just hearing things. Any kids that have a good story, pass it along to me, and I'll analyze it. And if I think it's good, we'll run with it. We're gonna still do them through the state series. I
have a guy. Let me tell you, there's this little guy from Mishawaka. His name was Nick Wiesjohn. Think about it.
It was against all odds.
Think about it.
Up to the occasion.
Yeah, he had a T-shirt. It said "Man Time." Think about it.
Can we do can we have the video of you and Galka and the who was what was the band that you love that you play that song a million times?
Census Fail.
Yes. Okay.
I can't find that video anymore. It was on MySpace when that was still a thing. Kids, you don't know what that is. It was Facebook before it was cool. Tom was your friend. It was the whole thing. But yeah, it was on MySpace. I don't have it anymore. But my people will get in contact with your people. Look at my cat.
Yes. Okay. So, any other words of wisdom or advice? We're creeping up on the 1 hour mark. I gotta go to bed, get my beauty rest.
Yeah.
I had to go to 2 wrestling practices today. So.
Let's see here. First off, Bam Lawrence, if you got problems with my room, bring it down to Brownsburg. We'll solve it in the wrestling room. That'll end bad for you because I'm literally in peak shape. Second of all, guys, wrestlers out there watching this, have fun. Sexuals is coming up, man. It's time to roll. It's time to go. Leave it all out there and enjoy it. Seniors especially, man. If you're not going to wrestle in college, man, just go out there and enjoy it, have fun. You never know what's going to happen. You could be on, and you could find your way to a state finals. I've seen that happen with kids I would never have thought have made it there. I've seen. I look back at Blake Harner of Norwell. If you'd told me he was going to be in the state finals and he wrestled, I'd have told you you're crazy. And that kid did it. He got to the state finals. So don't stop wrestling. Don't think anyone's better than you. Just go out there and wrestle and do your best.
Sounds good. I'm excited for the state series. We have Belmont tomorrow night. A little bit of a former rivalry.
Are you going to fight Dane?
Razzo and Joe starting it off.
Yep.
Hey, you know who doesn't like Razzo and Dane? I'll tell you what right now, Jim Wiesjohn. He's got some issues.
That was great. Hey, for the first kids, man, I love it.
Old Jim's getting fired up.
Old Jimbo says you guys owe me an apology. We're not really sure why, but you do.
Hey, better to tell them they owe me an apology before you ask questions.
He was so embarrassed. He's like, I'm so sorry I did that. I was like, you don't understand how technology works. It's okay. They'll figure it out.
At least he's not posting on Facebook. Upload wedding pictures. Facebook. I don't know where'd that technology come from.
I had to teach him. It's okay.
Nice. So, Mike, any words of wisdom as we head towards sectional?
No, I just wanted to say thanks to Lake Central for letting me announce the DAC this weekend. They let me announce the Harvest Classic. Now I get to do the DAC for them. Just really appreciate that. I really have a good time doing that. I really like it. Words of wisdom? Nope.
Don't lose. I ain't that smart.
Don't lose, right?
Score more points than your opponent, and don't be on your back.
Yeah, don't just go out there and compete. I mean, I think 90% is just showing up. Just don't lose before you go out there. Mentally, if you think that you're already lost, and you lost. Just go out there and compete. Doesn't matter. You see upsets all the time. Just be that guy. If you're not the guy that's going to be scoring the upset, someone else will. You see it all the time. There's going to be someone that's going home the ticket round that everyone's going to be shocked. Be the guy that makes that guy.
Yeah, and don't mess up Mike's rankings. So don't lose to the guys that
trash them.
Yeah.
Trash them. I don't care.
No. So anyway, we'll be back probably next week, probably Wednesday, Thursday-ish, I would assume, after we get all the brackets and we analyze see there's always the rumors that someone's going to drop or go up or not show up to put the brackets. So we're going to make sure we get all those before we have our show and have the last update of the rankings. So if you have any last-minute information that, needs to be done, send it, now. Would be a good time. And, Saturday, Sunday after a lot of the conferences and other tournaments. So send Mike information and, don't wait till Thursday and be like, oh, well, we beat so-and-so, last week. You got to tell us. Sometimes we don't get all the results. So thank you. And
we got a lot of them, though. We posted a lot of them.
Yeah, we have like 1,200 or so in the system.
Enjoy that. That's a lot of work that everyone can enjoy.
Yes, so with that, have a wonderful week and weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.